Hey everyone, this is Kate. We're here tonight, about 1 minute late, getting ready to talk about Xero. If anyone can hear me, if anyone's online, I'd love it if you could write a comment and let me know. And we are shortly to be joined by a great gal named Kat Bussey. She has her whole practice on Xero and is going to tell us a lot more about it. So Kat, if you can hear me, is anyone there? Okay, hey John. Okay, great. So we've got a guest here. I'm adding Kat. It's going to take a couple seconds to add her, but really grateful for her time. She and I had just connected through this group, and I know that she was an avid Xero fan. And just so everybody knows, hey Kat, hey, um, can you hear? Kat, can you hear me? I can't hear you. Are you saying anything?
Yeah, there we go.
Awesome, awesome. I was just about to say one quick thing, just so everybody knows. So I do not use Xero. The handful of clients that I have are all in QuickBooks Online, and so I don't want to talk about something that I don't really know. So the best way to introduce this software is to have someone who is an avid user. I personally think that it would be a great software for folks to consider. We're going to hear from Kat why she thinks that it's a good reason, but QuickBooks Online is definitely not the only game in town when it comes to cloud accounting. So this is just another option. So Kat, let's just dive right in. Can you tell us about yourself? Tell us about your business. Who are you?
Well, I have lived in Phoenix for 7 years. I don't even remember. I have two boys, a 5-year-old and a 1-year-old. He'll be 2 in November. Um, I have been wanting to be an accountant for probably about half my life. I started in information technology, computer networking. That's where I have my associates. Decided I didn't want to work on computers all for the rest of my life, but working with them was okay. So virtual accounting is really awesome. But I changed majors back in 2008, and I will be graduating, I hope, with my bachelor's in April.
Wow, good for
It
you.
might, yeah, it might get pushed back till November of next year. It depends on how quickly I can get through my classes.
Well, you know,
Um,
the 5-year-old and the 2-year-old don't help for that.
no, they really, really don't. Um, I have owned my own business and been using Xero for the last 3 years.
Okay.
Um, my first client actually turned me on to it. She's a nonprofit acupuncture clinic. And when she was first starting out, she was looking for an accounting platform that was considerably cheaper than QuickBooks and came across Xero and said, hey, go look at this. And I did. And I'm like, yeah, okay, this works well. Um, for the general plan that pretty much everybody goes with, it's only $30 a month. With her being a nonprofit, she does get a discount on that. But they do have 5 different plans,
Okay.
ranging anywhere from $3 to $60.
$3 a month?
Yeah.
Wow. Is
If
that,
all
do you have anyone on that though? I mean, is it pretty bare
Not
bones?
on that one. It is very bare bones. There's no bank feeds, but you can enter the transactions. It's pretty much just cash flowing.
Okay.
The next one up is 7 a month, and it does do live bank feeds, but you can't do invoicing or billing.
Okay.
So you can't enter like your insurance bills for recurring payments and all that. And you can't invoice anybody.
Okay.
Um, the next one up is so those are both the partner editions. The next three are called business edition plans. There's an early, which is $9 a month, and it will allow you to do 20 bank reconciliations and 5 invoices and bills.
Okay.
The typical $30 called growing, there's no restrictions on bank transactions, invoicing, or bills.
Okay.
And then the next one up allows multiple currencies, and
Oh
it
wow.
goes more in depth into expense claims and projects.
Okay. So would you say most of your clients, do you try to point them to the $30 one?
Yeah, pretty typically. I do have two clients on the $7 plan, but they don't want their monthly bills entered and they don't send invoices to anybody. So it
Okay.
wasn't feasible to put them on the $30 plan.
Awesome. Well, that's great info. And I'm guessing it looks like you're kind of glancing at your computer. That's all kind of super
I have
public,
notes.
zero public
I have
page.
notes.
Okay. Notes. Well, thank you. Thank you for pairing. What a champ. Um, but yeah, I mean, I guess just sort of like Xero.com, people could find that out, but
Yeah,
without
it's all
purchasing.
in there. You kind of have to dig a little bit for the pricing, but it is available.
So are those prices that you're seeing, with QuickBooks Online, one of the benefits as a pro advisor is you get a wholesale discount as a pro advisor, and you can pass those savings on to your client or not tell them about it, and just if you bill them fixed rate, you kind of just wrap the cost of the software in. Are there accountant discounts for Xero?
So I do know that they regularly do promos where you can where any new client that gets signed up is like 90% off or something for the
Okay.
first 6 months. I know that for the first couple of years, I had two or three clients on Xero and they were all on $30 plans and I was paying, I don't know, like $10 a month.
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
do know that once you hit the silver partner level, you get a 15% discount on all of your subscriptions except for the partner level ones, which are the $3 and the $7.
Okay. Well, okay, so speaking of this silver thing you just talked about, one of the reasons I thought I reached out to you to talk about Xero was because I know you and I are connected on LinkedIn, and I'm connected with someone who works at Xero on LinkedIn, and I think her name was Sophia,
Yep,
like
she's
gave
my
you,
advisor rep.
okay, so she's, works hand in hand with you, and then she gave you a shout out on LinkedIn saying congrats to our newest, not silver but bronze, right? You're
Yes.
bronze. Um, so I don't know what if there's much to say about that. I know I personally thought that that was cool. That well, first of all, it kind of like populated your LinkedIn feed with something with an accomplishment from like someone else. So just kind of
Yeah.
your network seeing that shout out, I thought was kind of neat. And I'm guessing once you hit silver, they'll ding you
Do it
again and
again,
say,
probably.
yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but so have you, since you've hit bronze partner, is there any, has your life changed at all? I mean, do they send
No,
you a
not really.
package or?
I
Okay.
have not noticed any new contacts, but I do know that the partner levels, there's partner, bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And
Okay.
it's determined by points, and you get a certain number of points for clients that you pay for, clients that pay for themselves and have invited you in, and any apps that you have connected to either yours or your clients' accounts. So it's basically based on the number of clients and the number of apps. I was a partner for a really long time. I just recently hit bronze, and that was
Okay.
because I got a new client, and she's like, she's paying for herself and invited me in, and we added HubDoc, so that helps matters a lot.
Okay.
Um, I do know that when I hit bronze partner, they sent me a kit that had a certificate that said we're a bronze partner, a couple of keychains. It was actually kind of cool.
Okay.
um, and then
Little
yeah, at the
Xero
bronze,
swag. That's neat.
yeah, and then at the bronze level, you get the 15% discount, and then it just goes up from there. Silver's 20%, and so on.
Okay. So they're incentivizing you to like really build the practice and stick with the software and their
Yeah,
integrations too. Okay.
yeah, and I do know that once you hit bronze, they will match dollar for dollar up to $2,000 worth of advertising. And then they give you information on how to use that to the best of to
Advertising how? Like Facebook
I
ads
haven't looked
or?
into it yet.
Okay. Okay. Well,
But
it's
yeah, they sent me a whole bunch of information, and it's kind of I don't really have the disposable income to do advertising yet. I'm waiting
okay.
until October when I get payroll report money in.
Okay. Um, well, okay. I got some other questions written down. So 3 years ago, you kind of said your client introduced it to you, but I mean, you could have just served that one client, or you could have talked her out of it, or you could have done the one and then done the rest on another software. So after that initial introduction to Xero, what made you opt for that? What made you opt for that going forward with all the rest of your clients? Like what sold you? What's hot about it? I mean, how's it different from others that you've worked with?
So I had really only worked with QuickBooks Desktop for a couple of years, and I'd worked with online for about 9 months before that. And I was not very fond with online. I prefer desktop over online any day of the week. I
Okay.
can't stand QuickBooks Online. I can't find anything.
Okay.
Nothing is laid out where it's easy to find. And therefore, my assumption is my clients are going to have just as many problems finding things.
Okay.
When I got into Xero, I was thrilled that it was cheaper than QuickBooks Online at the time, and that me going in and having never seen the program before, it was easy for me to find things.
Okay.
And therefore, my thought process is it should be easy for my clients to find the same stuff.
Okay. So interesting. I my clients, they don't spend a whole lot of time in their QuickBooks software. So that's interesting. And I'd like to get to clients that are, bigger and that are needing to do more on their own, and that where I could kind of train to use the software. And so I've never really kind of had to imagine like, what would I do if someone else had to be in there digging around as much as I am? But you're finding that Xero is pretty user friendly from the non-accountant side.
Yeah, very
Okay.
much so.
Huh. Awesome. Okay, so for full disclosure, are there any shortcomings to the software?
There's one that I can think of.
Okay.
When you import a bank statement, the import template that they give you lets you do the coding so that you can say this was meals, this was office supplies. But then when you import it, none of that coding stays.
Huh. And that's at
And
the highest level of that's the $30 plan too? It's not like it's
yeah,
one of okay.
and I'm
So you
wondering if it's a
just
glitch and I should contact support and be like, hey, is this supposed to happen?
so is it something that you think they're working on? I mean, that sounds kind of
It's possible. Like I said, I should probably contact them. Um, it might just be something that a lot of people have come across, but nobody has bothered to contact support about it, so they don't know it exists. There have been a couple of things that I had issues with not working, and I contacted support. And the first one was like, we know about it, we're working on it, and we should have a solution in the next couple of days. I went, oh, okay, cool.
uh-huh. Okay. So when you contact support, are you talking to a person or an email?
So they have redesigned their Xero support, and you have to do it while logged in. You submit a ticket, but then you work with the same person the whole time. If
Okay.
they need to speak with you, they call.
Huh.
And then if they need to be able to see things, they can set it up so that they can remote into your computer and be able to visually watch what's happening.
Right, right, right. Okay. Um, so you're happy with like the reporting capabilities? Nothing else? I mean, you like
And
it? No shortcomings.
not really that I can think of. I was a little upset about the reports for a little bit, and then I remembered, oh, I can change these.
So
I just have to go in and re-edit the format on the reports, and it gives me all the information I need.
are you re-editing it in Excel, like exporting it to Excel, or are you still within
No,
Xero and changing it?
still within Xero. There's an option down at the bottom, or maybe the top. I don't know unless I'm actually looking at it,
Sure.
where you can just go and change the report style, so you can add columns for prior year comparison, income ratio, that sort of thing. And I
But
kind of forget that exists.
it won't let you save that template to where you don't have
It
to.
does.
Oh,
It
okay,
lets you
okay.
save it as a customized template.
Right. Okay. That's how QuickBooks does it too. Okay. Well, yeah. I'll just jump in here and comment on something for folks who don't know. QuickBooks probably has at least in the U.S. has really great name recognition. It's been around for a long time, but it was like you could go to like Costco and like buy the CD of QuickBooks, I think, and you like install it on your computer and you work, you know, on on your hard drive. QuickBooks Online came about, I don't know, probably within the last decade-ish. Xero, on the other hand, y'all, has been a cloud-only platform from the beginning. So you're going to hear a lot of people in bookkeeping groups, like how Kat was saying, like desktop I like desktop. QuickBooks Online, never. For me, I've never worked on QuickBooks Desktop, so I don't have any bad feelings toward QuickBooks Online. I'm newer, so personally, I think QuickBooks people who have problems with one or the other, it's whatever software they grew up on. If they grew up on desktop, then and they touched it first, they're fine. But I know plenty of people who are more recent and they started in QBO and they're like, I don't know what all your people are complaining about. Probably similar to, to Xero. Like if you let yourself go down the Xero path early on, and especially there's so many people here who are brand new, like you're going to fall in love with it and you'll become a rock star at it, and you're not going to have to think about like, where do I find this, where do I click. So anyway, but Xero, what the unique thing about it is it has only ever been on the cloud. So in terms of really understanding how to run a business, like a virtual business, that's all it does. Everything can be accessed remotely.
Yeah,
That's just a little history of Xero. Okay, so you're building your own business on the side because you work a full-time job, right, Kat?
I do.
Okay. Well, I'm assuming that means, you don't have like 100 clients or something. So, but the
No,
clients that you
right
do
now
have,
I'm looking at about 8 clients.
okay, but that's awesome. Um, and I'm sure you've probably proposed to a few more than 8 and gotten turned down some. Is that true? Maybe yes, no?
Nope.
No, oh my gosh, I need to take your, sales
So
class.
to be fair, all of my clients but one are friends of mine.
Okay. Well, fair enough.
Well, okay, no, I take that back. Two of the businesses that I do, I actually picked up from my day job. My day job, I work for a CPA firm and I do taxes and bookkeeping. And for these 2 clients, they only ever did the tax return. And so bookkeeping was always year-end cleanup. And they needed some serious help because they don't know how to do bookkeeping. So my boss was like, here, take them. And so I did.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess
one of them was a referral from a friend of mine, and everybody else is friends of mine. So it kind of just, they fell in my lap.
Well, my question was, do you ever get pushback because in America people are hear about, oh, but bookkeeping, so you do QuickBooks? Like I feel like I've heard that sentence before. Like they kind of associate maybe bookkeeping with QuickBooks. And Xero's based out of New Zealand, I think.
I believe so,
So
yeah.
do you ever get pushback from people saying like, I don't want this software, I want this American one, or I want the one that I've heard of? No one cares?
No, nobody that I have ever talked to has had problems. So my first client, she's the one that introduced me to Xero. My second one was already on Xero and she invited me in. And then everybody else has just been like, oh, okay, cool.
Whatever you say, you're the expert, right? Okay.
Pretty much.
I want to ask my last question that I had. Well, I have 2 that I want to ask, and then I see Kathy has asked one, and we'll get to some others if people have them in the group. But if a bookkeeper in our group wants to learn more about Xero, where would you suggest they start? Like, do you have any favorite Facebook groups that you hang out in that's like Xero fans, or a favorite trainer that you've taken? Like, I'm brand new. Where do I go to learn about Xero?
So honestly, your best bet is to go to Xero.com and sign up for they offer a completely free growing partner edition for accountants and bookkeepers.
Okay.
And they give access to a demo company that you can go into and do anything and everything and not screw anything up.
Not break it. Okay.
Yeah. And then the Xero Education Center is full of training videos, and it's how you get certified. I know that they recently changed up their recertification so that you only have to watch the 4 quarterly reports that they do to be recertified every year. But I believe that the initial certification is still like 40 points, and there are some courses that are 5 or 10 points a piece. So it's not super hard to do. And you just sit and watch the videos and answer the questions. It's a lot like the QuickBooks training that I've noticed.
Okay. Sure. All right. So yeah, just right on their platform. Okay, I'm gonna call that my last question. So let's jump in with Kathy here. Have you ever done it or heard of QuickBooks Desktop migrating into Xero?
I have not ever done it. I do know that they do have migration support, specifically in the higher level partner plans.
Okay.
But I do know that it's super easy to import a conversion balance.
Okay.
So if you want to just keep all of your data in QuickBooks and
Desktop.
then bring your balances in and then just start new from there.
Which would be free and easy to do because you're not paying for that desktop anyway. I mean, you just
Yeah.
save the computer. Okay. Um, hope that answers your question, Kathy. There was a couple of people who had asked some questions beforehand, written them down in the group. Can you invoice from Xero?
So I know that when I bill my customers, I do invoicing for all of my customers through Xero.
Okay.
You can set it up to do an automatic invoice, so it goes out on the same day of every month. Or you can set up recurring invoices as a draft so that you have the ability to edit them before they go out. Um,
Okay.
or just a typical invoice for one-off jobs here and there.
Awesome. What about inventory? Can they handle inventory?
Yes, they do a non-tracked inventory and a tracked inventory. So I know that when it comes to tracked inventory, you have to determine a starting date, and then your inventory balances you'll enter as of that starting date. And then whenever you send an invoice to a customer, you'll have to enter what products are on that invoice so that it can accurately track the inventory.
Awesome. Tell me about their integrations. I know since they're like cloud all the way that they're pretty proud of like I know they bought HubDoc, I think.
They
And
do
they
not
have
actually own HubDoc, to the best of my
okay.
knowledge.
Okay, but they're somehow really closely aligned, right? And I think they're really
Yes,
closely aligned with
they
like
are.
Gusto.
Yes. Xero used to do its own payroll, but as of the first of this year, they got rid of their payroll and partnered with Gusto.
Okay, that's a difference, everybody. So QuickBooks, Intuit has a payroll platform um, that you can use. You can also use Gusto or any other, there's a bunch of other payroll providers, but you're saying you can't do payroll within Xero if you wanted to. You have to have an outside
No,
provider.
yeah,
Okay.
you have to have an outside provider. I do know that Gusto is really inexpensive. For their basic plan, it's about 39 a month and then $6 per employee.
Right. Okay. Um, any other apps that you love that like make Xero even better? Like,
So I use HubDoc fairly regularly, particularly for one of my clients who's a restaurant owner and has lots and lots of receipts to get to me.
okay.
But I don't use any of the other apps. I know that there's a ton of them out there, and if you wanted to look at them, you can go to apps.xero.com and it'll show you all of the integrations that they have.
Okay, so if someone needs like if they have a client that's like heavy, like time tracking heavy, or um, I don't even know whatever their needs would be, y'all hear that? Y'all can go and look and see like, does Xero have the apps that I need so I can.
Yeah,
You don't want to pick a bookkeeping software when you know you're going to need an app that doesn't exist for that platform. So,
exactly.
um,
And I do know that they have lots of different options for time tracking.
okay. Um, we have a question here from Laura. Does Xero give accountant an account without charges similar to QBO? And you said that they do. You can create your
Yes.
partner account. And everyone, I have on bookkeepingsidehustle.com, I have a article in I think it's under the education tab about how to become a Xero advisor. And I'll tell you, at least when I wrote the article like 3 months ago, and from what I remember when I was dabbling in Xero 2 years ago, it's a lot more hands-on than QuickBooks. Like you don't have to talk to a person to start to become a QuickBooks Pro advisor, and I've advised a lot of y'all to go ahead and do that, get that certification to find out if you like bookkeeping at all. I mean, if you can't pass the QuickBooks Pro advisor exam, maybe this isn't for you. Xero, I found was more hands-on. I think you have to actually talk to a human before they kind of set everything up. Does that still sound right, Kat? It's just a
Yeah,
lot more personal.
it is. It is very personal. They want to offer as much assistance as possible and get as much information about your business as they can so that they can help steer you in the right direction, offer advice on how to get you clients. They do, when you sign up for the partner plan, they do assign you a specific advisor, and you'll work
Okay.
with that person if you have any questions on how to advertise or set up something. They are your go-to person, and they are very, very responsive.
Okay. I'm gonna throw out something here that's just my own opinion. So, y'all, when I think about QuickBooks versus Xero, and I told Kat this is my opinion yesterday when we spoke, and she said, "Yeah, that sounds about right." I would say Xero. One of the big differences is Xero is cooler than QuickBooks. And I know that probably doesn't matter, but in terms of like maybe who your target clients are, what niche you have, there might be something for really thinking about that. Like if you're looking for someone under, the under 30 entrepreneur who likes to work in his like flip flops, and I mean, I don't know, like Xero is just it's just cool. QuickBooks, their market is, they have people who've been using QuickBooks for 30 years. So those people are 60 now, from when maybe they started their business. So it's a little bit just a different feel. I follow Xero on LinkedIn and on Facebook as well, and there's like they put a lot of like pictures of bring your dog to work day and stuff like that, stuff like that, which is just a little bit of a flavor. So kind of figure out your personality. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just kind of, I don't know. Kat, what do you think about my little assessment?
It
Um,
makes a lot of sense. Zero has always come across as marketed a lot more towards the millennial sort of mind
okay.
frame. Where'd you go? There you are. And the way I see QuickBooks is it's been around forever. So I know it's not, but in my brain, it feels outdated. And
Okay.
I know that there are likely to be a lot of people who are starting their own business who are going to feel the same way.
Okay. Well, if anyone has any more questions, type it in now. I don't want to take too much of Kat's time. She has some little ones that aren't tucked in, like mine are, because I'm on the East Coast. So she needs to get home and feed some people and read some books or whatever you do in the evening.
Yeah, tonight's probably
I,
my bedtime night.
yeah, oh, I had something to say. Dang it. Oh, one piece of advice for, I don't, we still have some people listening, and I know that people are going to listen to this, in the next, after the fact as well. Um, if you're coming at this from a side hustle, like you're not quitting your job tomorrow and really going whole hog into starting a business where you're working 40 hours a week, I really recommend sticking with one software if at all possible. They're both double entry accounting softwares. They both are going to generate the same reports, but just literally where you click and where you find stuff is different. And you're going to be inefficient if your goal for this, is to get 2 clients by December, which would be a great goal for someone who's just starting out. Let's say that's your goal. If you have one on QuickBooks and one on Xero, you're going to have zero like economies of scale. So pick one, go with it, learn everything about it, follow the experts in that. Like I recommend this gentleman Hector Garcia when I talk about QuickBooks. There's a gal, Amanda Aguilar. I think she's been on this chat. Thank you, Amanda. She has a lot of trainings on Xero. Pick a couple people, follow them, and go with either one. But that's really my recommendation if you're coming at this from a where you're wanting to start small, before you take like a big plunge and quit your job. Um, so
I very much agree
yeah.
with that. That my day job uses QuickBooks in and out. We go back and forth between desktop and online depending on the client. And going, even for me being very comfortable with Xero and fairly comfortable with QuickBooks Online, going back and forth between the two can be confusing sometimes.
Yeah. So take that for what it's worth, y'all. Maybe the choice will be made by your potential client, like it was for Kat. I wouldn't think everyone should expect to have someone kind of like approach them and like be like, hey, let's pick our software together. A lot of us are gonna have to be like trying to drum up that business. So you're gonna want to not approach your client saying like, whatever software you recommend, or like whatever software you want. You're gonna want to be like, I know Xero. I really recommend this, and here's why. Or I know QuickBooks. I really recommend it. Here's why. So pick your one, go with it. This was chime in, tag Kat on the Facebook group. She's around. If you have a specific question, tag her. She can try to jump in, ask anything else y'all want about Xero. But now you have a little
Yeah,
more
if you
information.
have any questions, please feel free to contact me.
Awesome. Well, I don't have anything else to say. Did we miss anything that you wanted to say, Kat?
I don't think so.
Okay. Thanks so much for preparing too. I really appreciate it. Y'all, we're going to sign off. This will be saved in the Facebook group. So you can come back